Welcome to Hybis News. My name is Suresh Kochate. India has become the darling of the world, especially for pharmaceutical drugs. Overnight, every nation wants to be India's friend. From President Trump to Prime Minister Boris Johnson to German Chancellor Angela Merkel, everybody loves India. Why? Because we produce the drugs that the world could not. So we look at various aspects of why this happened, how this happened, and how India can keep its edge in the world's pharmaceutical exports. To discuss the past, present, and future of the Indian pharmaceutical industry, especially concerning exports, we have with us Mr. Ravi Uday Bhaskar, Director General of Pharmaceuticals Export Promotion Council of India. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for speaking to Hybis News. Everybody knows, Mr. Bhaskar, that India is the good pharmaceutical manufacturer. India produces huge numbers of quantities of pharmaceutical drugs at a cost that is actually pittance compared to the rest of the world. That is one of the reasons why our generics are very popular abroad in many countries. Was there a hidden Indian potential in the pharmaceutical industry that has suddenly being realized across the world?
It's not the question of suddenly realizing Indian potential by the world. India is known as a pharmacy of the world. We're exporting drugs since last more than a decade to the entire world. If you take the example of the HIV, we championed the cause of supplying antiretroviral drugs to Africa when the entire Africa is facing such a serious situation of AIDS. So India is known for its capabilities, and India is producing efficacious drugs at very affordable price. Indian pharmaceutical industry can claim that we have saved hundreds of millions of population from the dreaded diseases like HIV, malaria, tuberculosis. This is not a new phenomena.
But technically speaking, even though we were supplying a huge amount of drugs across the world, Hyderabad being one of the big cities from where it is produced also. But suddenly the publicity was never there. Everybody knew we were doing it, especially those in the industry knew it. But suddenly when President Trump overnight said that he wants the medicines from India to be reached out there, suddenly India became kind of is it India doing it really this big? And that's how the entire focus has come about.
No, that focus is mainly due to the President Trump statement, but the issue is that we are known for it. We are the third largest producer in terms of volumes, as well as 11th in terms of value. We are exporting to more than 202 countries, and more or less we are manufacturing most of the generic drugs. So hydroxychloroquine and paracetamol, take for example, hydroxychloroquine is one of the oldest drugs which are used in the treatment of the malaria. And paracetamol, these two drugs are age-old drugs, but the importance is mainly due to the President Trump statement, and at the same time people tried hydroxychloroquine in the treatment of COVID-19. But these two drugs are very simple drugs, and take for example, India is exporting 75% of the total production to the world. So almost hydroxychloroquine they are exporting to 40 countries much before the COVID-19. Once the President Trump and other countries sounded that we can use hydroxychloroquine, as well as the ICMR has also mentioned that we can use in the prophylactic treatment. So that is the reason this drug has got an importance. So we are as a Indian pharma industry and DG Pharmexcel, I am not surprised that India got a good new name actually. So we are known for it, and we are capable of doing this, and we will continue to do this.
I think the most crucial part, if you ask me, and definitely you know it better because you are an expert, is the fact that our indigenous production needs to be ramped up. But if you look at the active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, we still import 90% of it. 2/3 of it come from China. That is that a huge potential that we can now shift to India in the post COVID-19 era, especially the MSME sector can be given a chance to produce the same APIs in India, thereby reducing our dependence on countries like China.
It's true, Mr. Suresh. Actually, we were capable of manufacturing these APIs and intermediates, but we left it to China 20 years back, keeping in view of our profits and as well as the competitive levels and the size of Chinese industry and the cost effectiveness. All these factors led Indian pharmaceutical industry to focus more on formulations rather than APIs. As you have rightly mentioned, that not that 90% we are dependent on China, but we are largely dependent on China, particularly with respect to KSMs and intermediates. Some of the APIs also we are importing just because, take for example gabapentin. Gabapentin API, if you manufacture in India, the cost is more than if we import from China. These are the factors responsible for that. But as you have rightly mentioned that the government of India is seriously thinking about reducing healthcare, reducing import dependence. But we are trying our level best, and government has also announced the schemes. Actually, like very recently, the cabinet has approved that they are going to start 3 clusters, 1,000 crores for each cluster, as well as they have also announced 6,940 crores in the coming 8 years to support the APIs, the 53 APIs which are importing. If somebody manufactures that certainly is going to help the Indian pharmaceutical industry to meet their requirements, as well as it will increase the export potential of India also. Certainly, it's not only helpful to the MSME, it is helpful to the large scale industry also. This is the high time. This is the high time India need to develop our own API, intermediate and KSM industry at the earliest.
Now, one of the innovations, our jugaad in pharma was known as reverse engineering, thanks to the Patent Act of 1970s. We got into big time generics, producing it at a cost which is very, very competitive, killing a monopolistic industry in other countries. But has the time now come for India to move away from low value generics into high value medicines? What is your opinion on that?
Generics with low value are always relevant to the society. Most of the people in the world are facing very serious consequences as far as their economy is concerned, not post-COVID and pre-COVID also. Every country wanted to reduce their healthcare expenses, including the countries like America. Take for example, out of 20 billion exports of Indian generics, 1/3 is going to US. US is a big economy, pre-COVID era also, but people are interested in procuring and importing Indian generic medicines. The reasons is that certain generic medicines always have a relevance. At the same time, you cannot continue only manufacturing these generic drugs in a longer period. It is going to be irrelevant tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Indian pharmaceutical industry has to focus more on complex generics and innovations. So that is going to give you an edge and the competitive level at the international scenario. So you take for example Europe. Europe is our third largest importing partner, and Africa is our second largest importing partner. And if you take the top 10 importing countries, almost 7 are highly regulated markets. So as long as the economy, as long as the generic drugs are relevant, and take for example hydroxychloroquine is relevant today. Nobody felt that hydroxychloroquine, the entire world and the President of India, President of US will ask for hydroxychloroquine, and German Chancellor will ask for hydroxychloroquine. Everybody felt that it is irrelevant, but today it is relevant. So
it's only a drug for India for malaria.
Yes. Actually, why they are asking is that the malaria is eradicated in most of the developed countries, and particularly Europe and US and other developed countries, it is eradicated. That's why they are not manufacturing. Hydroxychloroquine, not that a very big drug, it needs very strong expertise. But you cannot say that particular drug is irrelevant tomorrow. We don't know whether it is going to be relevant or irrelevant depending on the situation. Most of the antiretrovirals are also being tried for COVID-19. So they are all age-old drugs.
I think also the push to generic medicines happens also in terms of the domestic sector in India, where the Jan Aushadhi Kendras of the Prime Minister's program is pushing a lot of generics into the Indian market. But Indian pharma industry has two sectors. Of course, you deal with the outer part of it, the export part of it. There's also a domestic component. The biggest market being US for India. Now, a lot of FDA rules, a lot of plant approvals were held up. There were some comments on Bachupalli plant of Dr. Reddy's, or there was some plant on the Srikakulam plant, everything. But I think post the medicines going to US, we are seeing a lot of the plants approvals coming back fast. My question to you is, we need to grow at the way Indian analysts who looks at the pharma industry say that we need to grow at about 25% CAGR, post-COVID at least. Indian pharma was not in a great shape even before COVID because the margins were under pressure in the US. What is the way forward for the Indian pharma industry? Because we need to look at a whole new world emanating after COVID. So as an expert in this industry and as somebody who represents the industry, what's your opinion on the way forward for the Indian pharma industry to keep its margins well above the expectations of the market?
You need to look into this issue in a holistic way. India is having highest number of US FDA approved facilities outside US. We are exporting almost 30% of our generics to US. Naturally, the inspections will be more, and the observations also will be more. That doesn't mean it is a pressure. It's a part of the job. We need to face the inspections. We need to update our facilities. That is one point. The second point is that 35% of abbreviated new drug applications of India, US FDA has approved from India. So this shows that naturally whatever product at the time of introducing, the price will be different, and once it is becoming old, and naturally the price will go down. Particularly the price pressure in US, the cartel of the distributors have reduced the price. But if you see the exports of India, the entire the manufacturing sector, not only in India, globally it's going down. Last year we recorded double-digit growth with 19.13 billion we have exported. Out of that, 55% to highly regulated markets. In this particular year, 1920, we have exported $20.52 billion worth of drugs. Out of that, again, the 50% is to the highly regulated markets. These demonstrates that as long as India manufactures the quality drugs at affordable price, India will go on providing these drugs to the world, and the volumes are also getting increased. Actually, there is no reduction in terms of volumes. So, but the CAGR 25% it's a unrealistic dream. It's an unrealistic dream. 25% CAGR it won't happen. But my point is, as the Pharmaceuticals Export Promotion Council of India, we are very much happy with our exports, particularly this financial year. Due to COVID as well as the restrictions of Government of India on export of certain the products, So we were not able to touch 22 billion, but still we crossed 20.5 to or 58 billion in the last financial year. It's a great achievement during this turbulent the period.
No, the US FDA approvals always, as you rightly described, come in bits and pieces. Sometimes the plant approval, the comments all happen as a part of the regular scheme of things, especially when there's a new drug in the market. But there has been a growth erosion in the pharma sector for the Indian companies in the US. What we're seeing from countries like China, for example, they come with more of complex generics. They're coming up with small molecules. China is slowly trying to put its foot in the door in the United States pharma industry. Do you see a threat from China, especially that now that President Trump is threatening sanctions against them for this COVID pandemic? But going forward, maybe a couple of years from now, do you think there is real threat for the competition from China? Can, for example, the Indian companies hold on to their high margins, and double-digit growth in the US?
No, US last financial year we have nearly 15% growth. It's in the global competition, everyone should feel that somebody is a threat to you. Today China, tomorrow Bangladesh, day after tomorrow some Europe. So you have to maintain and you have to feel that how best we can refine and how best we can compete with the competitors. As of now, if you see the exports of China as far as formulations are concerned, they are nowhere close to India. They are far, far, far away from India as far as exports are concerned.
Especially to US.
Yeah, especially to US. Not only to US. If you see our the exports of generics, if you compare between China and India, they are nowhere close to India. The only thing we need to develop the indigenous API KSM industry, as well as the countries like Bangladesh. Bangladesh have an LDC status, so they are enjoying the patents, patent advantages what we enjoyed earlier. So they are going to be our competitor in the days to come. That's what I feel. So so competition always there. At the same time, the economy also making the developed countries also thinking about reducing their healthcare expenses. So healthcare, once they think about reducing the healthcare expenses, pharmaceuticals plays a very, very, very pivotal role in the healthcare system. So the countries also using the branded drugs, they may also shift to the generic drugs. So India is a reliable partner to so many developed countries as well as the developing countries and underdeveloped countries. India is the only country who is exporting to the entire the world. So India is going to rule the world if we continue the same tradition of producing quality drugs, efficacious drugs at affordable price. At the same time, India no more is a country, or the Indian pharmaceutical industry no more confined to India. Out of 10 top 10 global generic companies, there are 4 companies are from India. And the companies like Reddy's, Arbindo's, and the Sun Pharma, Zydus, and all these people playing a very important role globally. So India have a very relevance today. I think for tomorrow also, India have answers to all these issues. But as you have rightly mentioned previously, we need not confine ourselves only to the manufacture of generic drugs. So we need to focus on the high value drugs as well as vaccines. People are talking about
in fact, that's exactly what my next question is coming to. What are the things that When you get into a vaccine business, India has been a kind of producing vaccines for the younger generation, for the kids. We were very good in typhoid, we were very good in producing medicines for the polio thing. We almost we have eradicated polio from India. Now the question that would come up is what kind of investment one needs to put in to develop a vaccine, because these are huge risks that you take. You may fail in a third stage of the trial and the entire money that you put in goes down the drain. Everybody knows that to bring a molecule to the market, it takes a huge challenge, which is what the international pharma majors are really good at. And considering the fact that the company that produces a vaccine for COVID-19, it may end up with $1 trillion business. But as we saw in the earlier version of the same virus in China, which happened a few years ago, they came to stage 2 and suddenly the virus disappeared. So they had to stop the research at that point. Now they're reviving it to produce the drugs for it. So when you look at the Indian pharma industry, I know this is not really a part of your domain, but still, as a vaccine producing country, we are great in producing drugs, but where are we in terms of producing vaccines, and especially in reference to COVID-19?
I'm not competent enough to say that how much budget and how much funds are needed to develop a vaccine. But we have very good vaccine manufacturing companies, particularly the Serum Institute, Bharat Biotech, and Biologically, and Shanta Biotech. We are known for producing child vaccines, and we are almost we are playing a very important role as far as the child vaccines and immunization programs are concerned. And most of the international organizations like Imelda Gates Foundation and Bill Clinton, and there are so many, WHO, they are all procuring vaccines from India. If you see the last the financial year 1920, there is a growth of 22%. It's a positive side, but I'm not competent enough again to tell that how much money they need to pump and what is going to be the success rate. But it is good that our people are trying to develop a vaccine for COVID-19, and our company is Bharat Biotech, and particularly based in Hyderabad, Biologically, and the Shanta Sanofi, now they call it Serum. They are all telling that they are very confident about developing the vaccine. If that happens, it's going to be a game changer, particularly in the COVID-19 scenario. Again India will rebounds and will be at the top.
Mr. Bhaskar, thank you very much for speaking to us at HiBiz News. It's been a pleasure listening to you because you're an expert in this industry, and your points that you put across, I wish I could go on for the next half an hour with you. But we'll pick up all these threads another day, possibly once the COVID-19 is past us, and we'll look at maybe a couple of months from now to see how the Indian pharma industry progressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. Thank you so much.
That was Mr. Ravi Uday Bhaskar, Director General of Pharmaceutical Export Promotional Council of India, speaking to us at HiBiz News and letting us know how the Indian pharmaceutical industry is doing overseas. Thank you for watching.